Global water crisis is damaging our only planet, and you're gonna find out how this was caused. Recently, for an environmental sociology college course, I got to create a video presentation about the causes and consequences of issues related to water scarcity. Environmental sociology is the study of the relationship between human societies and the environment from a sociological perspective. In this field of study, there are several theories or frameworks that are used to view the social dimensions of environmental problems. As a part of my assignment, I had to demonstrate that I could apply these theories to real-world problems. So I'm not necessarily saying like I agree with these theories or this is how I view the world. I just had to show for my class that I understood these theories and could apply them just like a sociologist would. That's all. The video also had a due date, so it's not the highest of quality I would have liked, but I still wanted to share with you guys just to like show you what I've been up to. And without further ado, here's my video assignment: Global water crisis is damaging our only planet. Every day, billions of people around the world face challenges in accessing safe drinking water. Our world is currently facing several major issues related to pollution, drinking water, dams, ocean acidification, and bottled water consumption. These issues cause a wide range of damage to our environment, public health, and global economic development. If the current trends continue, by the year 2050, global demand for water will rise by over 40%, which will potentially lead to wars and global conflict. In this video, we'll be discussing the causes and social and ecological consequences of 5 major water issues impacting our only planet. The first issue we'll be discussing are the several communities in the United States facing water crisis due to issues with water access and quality. For example, Jackson, Mississippi and Houston, Texas have recently been on a boil water notice, and the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas is currently facing a drought and water shortage. At the government level, this problem has been caused by a lack of focus on improving infrastructure, poor management of services, poverty, and inequality. Governments often will not ensure that water supplies are sustainable for communities and overlook spending money to improve water infrastructure. Ecological modernization theory would suggest that these governments need to prioritize ecological values alongside of economic values within their operations. Economic inequalities also hinder access to clean water, especially in marginalized communities due to disabilities or the inability to afford high tax rates from the government. Other causes behind the issue of American water crisis include corporations engaging in activities that pollute water sources, for example, waste discharges, and consuming large amounts of valuable water sources needed by local communities. Corporations often use their power with little concern for local communities or the environment. Rapid urbanization and land use also contribute to issues relating to water access and quality due to increased runoff and erosion, increased levels of pollution, and a lower water table from pavement blocking natural rainwater flow. World systems theory views water pollution from rapid urbanization as a result of the great pursuit for profit and capitalist expansion. If communities in the United States continue to face water crisis due to issues with water access and quality, public health issues will worsen, especially among vulnerable populations such as the elderly, children, and households facing poverty. This issue also causes economic losses due to crop failures and an increase in food prices, and negatively impacts social unrest and conflict over access to water resources. On the ecological side, this problem causes habitat loss and groundwater depletion. Decrease in water flows and the loss of bodies of water disrupts the delicate balance of ecosystems and makes it difficult for several aquatic species to survive. Additionally, the depletion of groundwater reduces the amount of water in lakes and rivers. The second issue we'll be discussing is modern agricultural practices leading to water pollution. This water pollution is caused by the discharge of pathogens, pesticides, nutrients, and metals into bodies of water. These pollutants contaminate both groundwater and surface water, affecting millions of people worldwide. According to the Successful Farming website, agricultural runoff is the leading cause of water pollution in the US. This issue has been caused by a lack of government control over the pollution. Agricultural practices that cause non-point source pollution include overgrazing, poorly managed animal feeding operations, plowing too often, and the improper or excessive application of pesticides and fertilizers. In the US, laws and regulations have been put in place to regulate these factors, but stricter laws would be very beneficial for less pollution. The treadmill of production theory would explain these causes by how the state views water pollution as a normal result from agricultural practices with little hope of correcting the problem. The continual drive for profit maximization contributes to a low prioritization of switching to more sustainable agricultural practices. The industrialization of agriculture and push for economic growth has led to an increase in the use of synthetic fertilizers and and pesticides, which create a non-point source pollution and is carried by runoff into local water sources. The worsening of water quality from agricultural practices is also caused by individual factors such as economic incentives and the loss of soil due to poor farming practices. Farmers may not have enough money to invest in new, more sustainable farming practices, or could be hesitant to change them due to cultural norms. If modern agricultural practices continue to create water pollution, severe threats to public health will continue to arise. The contamination of drinking water from the use of fertilizers, pesticides, and herbicides affects human health by increasing the risk of certain cancers and disorders of the immune, endocrine, and nervous system. Children are also faced with higher risks of sickness and disease. Large-scale monoculture farming has led to the displacement of small farmers and a decrease in the use of more sustainable farming practices. This method of farming is often used for profit maximization, which is a result of corporations focusing on sustained economic growth, which is viewed as the sole path towards human progress. The issue of agricultural practices leading to water pollution also has ecological consequences. Runoff from fields can cause the eutrophication of water bodies, which causes the growth of harmful plants and algae and ultimately the death of aquatic species. Eutrophication produces toxins contaminating drinking water and reduces overall water quality, making recreational activities like swimming more difficult. The third topic we will discuss is the rapid growth of the bottled water industry. According to the World Economic Forum, the bottled water industry produced more than 600 billion plastic bottles in 2021, and over 85% of these will likely end up in a landfill. The rapidly growing bottled water industry comes at a major cost to the environment, climate, and society. This is caused by groundwater being extracted to fill the billions of bottles, which lessens available drinking water for millions of people and also contributes to the world's plastic pollution crisis. In many low to mid-income countries, the consumption of bottled water is often linked to a lack of reliable access to safe tap water. People who live in poor countries like the United States often buy plastic bottles as a luxury item, but in many periphery countries, people are forced to use plastic bottles because of the lack of access to a clean water supply. Corporations and technology have also contributed to problems with the bottled water industry by extracting groundwater to fill bottles, which diminishes drinking water resources. A phenomenon called the Jevons paradox has occurred, where increases in the efficiency of groundwater extraction intensifies the demand for bottled water consumption rather than decreasing it. The rapid growth of the industry has diverted government's attention from the funding of public water infrastructure and has pulled resources away from periphery countries that desperately need them. The high cost of bottled water also leads to concerns about access to clean drinking water for low-income communities around the world. If the bottled water industry continues to grow at its current rate, it will lead to a depletion of natural resources, increased plastic pollution, and a lack of investment in public water infrastructure, making it difficult for millions of people to access clean water. The next topic we'll be discussing is the consequences of building massive concrete dams. Dams cause several environmental problems such as reducing river flows, altering ecosystems, raising water temperature, and degrading water quality. They have also contributed to an 84% average decline in freshwater wildlife populations since 1970. Additionally, dams cause social problems related to the displacement of local populations. They also contribute to climate change by releasing greenhouse gases from the decomposition of flooded lands and forests. Dams are built for a variety of reasons, but governments decide to build them through representative authority. Governments may choose to build dams for industrial processes, municipal water supplies, irrigation, and water storage. Governments and corporations who privately own dams often overlook the maintenance of large older dams, which is why many of the world's largest dams are at an increasing risk of failure. When a corporation neglects the maintenance of their dam, they leave it at a higher risk of failure, which reflects the corporation's lack of concern for local communities and environment. According to treadmill production theory, this is an example of a corporation focusing on increasing production and profits by saving time and money instead of investing in safer infrastructure. Dams also face technological challenges such as concrete degradation, which can undermine their stability. Erosion is also a common problem that causes the weakening of dam structure. When a concrete dam structure is weakened, it leads to a higher risk of catastrophic failure failure, putting many lives in danger. The fifth and final issue we will be discussing is ocean acidification. Ocean acidification is a major environmental problem caused by the absorption of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, which leads to a decrease in seawater pH levels. This has a devastating impact on marine life, especially on organisms that rely on calcium carbonate to build their shells and skeletons. The largest contributor to ocean acidification is carbon dioxide emissions from human activities such as burning fossil fuels or deforestation. The policies and actions of governments can influence the amount of CO2 emissions, but they often choose to support industries that rely heavily on fossil fuels. Governments also indirectly contribute to CO2 emissions through their energy policies, regulations, and subsidies that affect the production and consumption of fossil fuels. Corporations also cause ocean acidification by burning fossil fuels themselves. From an ecological Marxist perspective, you can conclude that the capitalist system relies on fossil fuels for economic growth and expansion, which is leading to ocean acidification. Some industrial chemical reactions that do not involve combustion also lead to the emission of CO2, such as the production of cement, iron, or steel. Deforestation caused by government policies that encourage economic growth also contributes to rising CO2 levels as fewer trees can absorb the gas. Individuals can cause ocean acidification through choosing or encouraging activities that emit CO2 into the atmosphere and contributing to deforestation. If ocean acidification continues to worsen, the provision of food, oxygen, climate regulation, and other benefits that humans rely on from the ocean will be negatively affected. Ocean acidification may cause some species to go extinct or migrate to different regions, disrupting the balance and function of marine ecosystems. Acidification will reduce the abundance and quality of fish and shellfish that are important foods for humans, which could lead to substantial revenue losses, job losses, and food security for millions of people. Ocean acidification also weakens the structure of coral reefs, which provide natural protection for shorelines from storms and large waves. This could increase the risk of coastal erosion and flooding, damaging infrastructure, property, and ultimately putting human lives at risk. So why should we care about these issues with water? Well, water is essential for life, health, and the well-being of humans and nature. Water resources are facing many threats and issues affecting the quality, quantity, and reliability of water for purposes such as drinking, agriculture, energy, and ecosystems. This is why these issues matter. Water is a human right and a basic need. Everyone should have the right to clean, safe, and accessible water at an affordable cost. Yet, water scarcity continues to devastate dozens of regions around the world, affecting over 930 million lives every day. And unfortunately, this number is continuing to grow. I hope you learned something from this video. Thanks for watching.